I audited her affair and sent the bill to HR. I audited my wife's expenses, exposed her affair, and invoiced HR. Yes, I sent a bill. Print that on a mug and send it to accounts payable. Here's the outcome up front. Her career torched, our marriage iced, and corporate paid cleanup charges like room service. Extra pillows of policy, late checkout for ethics. The printer was screaming. The kettle clicked like it was judging me, and my heartbeat started doing tap dance math. One weird Uber receipt turned my kitchen into a crime lab with snacks. I'm calm. I'm petty. I'm surgical. I'm not yelling. I'm cross-referencing with a granola bar. You'll get the receipts, the pattern, the HR nuke, and the moment she blinked first. Spoiler, spreadsheets don't miss. So, yes, buckle. Actually, no, we don't do that here. First red flag? A $7 croissant at 2:13 a.m. in a city she allegedly wasn't in. My marriage had crumbs all over it. Marriage, money, and a locked phone. 5 years in, dual income, no kids, and the smug silence of a dishwasher that actually dries things. She was in marketing with a company card. I was the guy who says, I'll put it in a spreadsheet. It means it like a love letter. Our house rules were simple. Budget together, transparency, and absolutely no mystery charges with cute emojis. If you want to buy a candle called Forest Whisper, fine. Just don't submit it to client engagement. At first, her calendar said girls trip, which is code for 4 selfies and one group Venmo request titled Chaos. Then it became offsite. Same luggage, upgraded perfume, and a phone that went from normal to Fort Knox with Face ID, passcode, and, I think, a secret handshake. I joked about it. I do jokes the way some people do yoga, but my ledger brain started humming. I wasn't snooping. I was observing. An auditor's foreplay is pattern recognition. We have a running bit. I balance the budget. She balances the vibes. I'll ask, can we not spend $400 on artisanal coasters? And she'll say, they're conversation starters, as if guests are dying to discuss wood grain. It worked until the receipts stopped matching reality. Girls' night overlapped with airport Wi-Fi charges. Client dinner looked suspiciously like the best table for 2. I still didn't snoop. I don't scroll phones. That's a hard line. But then my name popped up on an approval email because we share a printer from the Stone Age that just prints whatever it wants when it wants. I heard the war cry from the office, paper machine gunning out like it was tattling, reimbursement request, her company logo, and in the memo line, client entertainment. My coffee went quiet. If you've ever heard coffee go quiet, you know that sound. It's the sound of a spreadsheet lawyer clearing his throat. We budget together because money is the calendar's angry cousin. We promised. No surprises, no secret subscriptions, no trial periods that last until the earth cools. She had a company card, yes, but that card lives under policy. Policy is my religion. I've read travel policies like some people read beach novels. Maximum per diem? Sacred. Allowed tip percentages? Holy scripture. If you're going to commit fraud, at least respect the GL codes. The shift was slow, like watch battery slow. New perfume that could file a restraining order on your nostrils. Late night team syncs that synced across 2 time zones I wasn't aware they had clients in. And the phone, always face down, always silenced, as if sounds could incriminate. I'd crack a joke. Are we hiding state secrets or just memes? And she'd smile in that way that says, please stop looking at the curtain with the wizard behind it. I told myself I was paranoid. I told myself lots of couples go through seasons. Then the croissant, the one printed by our tattletale printer at 6:42 a.m., which is too early for pastry discourse. It was a $7 croissant at 2:13 a.m., line item tucked under meals. The city? Not ours. Not even near ours. She had said she was home by midnight from a work dinner, which last I checked doesn't include French pastry at vampire hours, unless the client is Nosferatu and he's carb loading. Now, normal people confront. I optimize. I logged the receipt number into my personal tracking sheet titled Grocery-ish. I do have a life, but this was new. I pulled last month's credit card summary just to see. Then I pulled the month before that. By the 3rd export, I wasn't angry. I was curious. Curiosity is dangerous because it uses office supplies. Our house had rules about passwords. Share if it's streaming, keep if it's banking. Her phone was hers. Fine. But her expense reports? Those belong to the policy gods, and I pay tithes and pivot tables. So I waited. I asked, casually, if her offsite was fun. She said yes, the conference rooms were cold, the keynote was fine, and the hotel coffee tasted like printer ink. Cute. Except the city on her expense line didn't have that chain. I would know. I once memorized a hotel rewards chart to win an argument about blackout dates. This is my toxic trait. I still didn't accuse. You can't argue with vibes. You argue with evidence. I started a new tab called Anomalies, color-coded like a stoplight. Green for explainable, yellow for herm, red for call a lawyer or a priest. Most things were green. A few were yellow. Airport meals too close to our dinner at home, ride shares from office to neighborhoods where offices go to die. One was red. The croissant. I put a tiny croissant emoji next to it because I am petty and software allows for art. And then, because life loves a punchline, the printer coughed up a second reimbursement email. Same batch, same card. Client entertainment. 2 entrees, 1 dessert, and a mysterious room charge labeled incidental. If your client is so entertained, they charge an incidental to your room. Congrats! You've invented romance as a business expense. That's when curiosity upgraded to audit. I didn't need a fight. I needed a pattern. And the pattern was tapping on the glass like, hey, you awake? The $7 croissant crime scene. So I opened the PDF, and it hits me like flaky butter shrapnel. 2:13 a.m., croissant, 2 entrees, and a line that screams room incidental, like it's wearing a trench coat and lying about its name. The city? According to her, she wasn't there. According to the receipt, she was reenacting midnight in Paris with carbs. I don't argue with pastry. I verify it. The merchant is a cute cafe I know because it shows up on travel blogs with cozy nooks and locally sourced crumbs. Their posted hours say closed at midnight. Their Instagram says, thanks for a great night, doors locked at 12:05. I scroll their stories like a digital raccoon, and there it is. Clap emoji, lights off, barista home to their cat at 12:11. So who at 2:13 sold my wife a croissant? Casper the friendly baker? Then the routing line catches my eye. Client entertainment, sure, but the charge ID routes to the hotel, not the cafe. That's adorable. That's like buying a wedding ring at a gas station and calling it jeweler adjacency. I click into the folio number. It references an incidental, which, fun fact, is corporate for we don't want to say minibar, robe theft, or scandal snacks. I have a rule. Follow the smallest number. People hide the big spend. They trip over the crumbs. $7 is honest enough to speak without a lawyer. So I pull 6 months of her statements, export to CSV, and suddenly my desktop is a snack table for detectives. Hotels, rides, dining, filters on, vibes off. I sort by zip code, and my spreadsheet purrs. Patterns pop like microwave popcorn. Same hotel chain, same zip, Thursdays. It's like yoga, but with less stretching and more lying. Thursdays, by the way, are when she recharges at yoga, which is brave because her mat appears to be a king bed with turn-down service. I cross-check the chain's locations. The Zip she loves has a rooftop bar. Their menu features, wait for it, croissants after midnight because they do 24-hour room service. The cafe charge? It's just the POS for the hotel lobby kiosk. Midnight croissant mystery solved. Client? Still imaginary. I go deeper. Merchant IDs sometimes have little tells. The cafe's ID ends in 017. The hotel's kiosk ends in 017 too. It's not proof, but it whispers. I listen. I pull ride receipts. Uber from Office HQ to a tower labeled the Atrium. We don't have clients in the Atrium. We do, however, have a lot of condo dogs who are very good boys. The napkin math is getting smug. I copy the ride IDs, paste into my log, and notice duplicates. The same ride appears twice, once labeled client meet, once team sync. Only the memo changed. That's like changing a hat and pretending you're a new person named Philip. I check timestamps. Both are during her alleged flight delay. Planes were flying. She was not. Some receipts have metadata when you PDF them. You learn this when you're petty with a minor in forensics. Her PDFs show created 1:41 a.m. and the device name is her laptop. Because of course it is. Who doesn't love a little nighttime expense poetry? I screenshot, tag, and drop them into the control folder like I'm building a museum of no ma'am. I pull dining notes. She entertains the same 4 clients, Jensen, Mari, K. Patel, and D. Adorable roster. I cross-check the CRM at her company. Public portal, nothing illegal, just a little peeky peek. No such clients, not active, not prospects, not even ghosts. And a tip detail, identical 18% every time, down to rounded cents. That's not tipping, that's copy-paste etiquette. One receipt shows the waiter's name as Marco. Cute. Another, different city, same date range, also Marco. Unless Marco teleports or has a twin chain of clones, we're witnessing creative writing. I write Marco is inevitable in my notes because I entertain myself. Then the loyalty points. Rookie move. When you book a client, your own loyalty number shouldn't be on it like a tattoo. Hers is there, twice. Same date range as yoga. I jot. She's cheating on both of us with Marriott. I zoom into a picture attached to a wine charge. Some employees upload photos of the check, and this one has a wine glass reflection. You can see a watch, not hers. My wife wears a tiny rectangle that counts her steps and judges my pizza. This watch is a chunky chronograph with a bezel that says, I golf more than I parent. I pause the CSI episode in my head, whisper hello sir, and keep it moving. Next, the hotel room numbers. One folio shows room 2416. That's a suite level. You don't book those for a client who likes views. You book those for feelings and overpriced peanuts. I compare Thursday stays. The zips align, the dates align, and my eyebrows raise so high they get flight miles. I map everything on a timeline. Rides to the atrium, dinner charges, room incidentals, PDF edits at 1:41 a.m., reimbursed 2 days later, approved by the same manager who must think policy is a buffet. The graph looks like modern art titled Infidelity with per diem. Then cherry on top, a breakfast charge at 7:06 a.m. for 2 American. 2, not 1 American and a laptop. Eggs don't multiply out of loneliness. I circle it like I'm grading a test. See me after class. Quick pause. If you caught that line item on your partner's report, what would you do? Confront? Or would you, like me, start a museum and offer guided tours at 15-minute intervals? I breathe. I drink water. I chew responsibly. And then, because I'm me, I tag every red with a tiny croissant emoji. The pattern is clear. Yoga learned how to book suites and order room croissants at ungodly hours. And now that the pastry is spoken, the audit moves from to, oh, sweetheart, no. Building a case, not a scene. I made a decision. No yelling, no dramatic monologue, no pack your things soundtrack. Documentation only. Emotions got parked in drafts next to the unsent email titled, "Ma'am, if I'm going to lose a marriage, I'm at least going to win the audit." Step 1. Build the map. I pulled vendor IDs like they were license plates, lined up GL codes like soldiers, and traced the approver ladder to see who decided policy was optional. If you've never watched a grown man flirt with a chart of accounts, congratulations on your healthy hobbies. Me? I had a date with the general ledger. First anomaly beyond Croissant Gate, a vendor called Urban River Consulting. Round numbers, monthly invoices, zero website, and a vibe that screams, we operate out of a briefcase behind a dumpster. I searched state registries. Nothing. I searched domain records. Triple nothing. The invoice PDFs were all created between 1:37 and 1:43 a.m., which, shocker, is also her peak poetry time for expense edits. Metadata doesn't lie. It just quietly ruins your week. I checked the AP system. No W-9 on file. No vendor onboarding ticket. So how did it get paid? The invoice numbers hopscotched right past accounts payable and went manual check run under a manager override. I highlighted that in neon and wrote, the manager is asleep or complicit, possibly both. I'm generous. Screenshots time. I screen grabbed mileage claims where the start point is our driveway and the end point is the same rooftop bar with the croissant whisperer. Cute. I caught duplicate ride IDs cutting 2 different ways, once as client pitch, once as team offsite. Same timestamp, same driver, same backseat, whose seatbelt probably knows too much. She thought changing the memo changed reality. That's not how memos work, or reality. Next, before-after swaps. You upload a receipt, you change the date, you re-upload. The audit logs show both versions unless you know where to bleach footprints. She did not. I exported the logs. If my laptop had eyebrows, they'd be judgmental. Control file build-out. I created a read-only binder, a digital one with hashes, so even my future angry self couldn't be accused of tinkering. Index page, exhibit numbers, timestamps, and a short summary in plain English like Exhibit B12, breakfast for 2 at 7:06 a.m., narrative conflict with solo travel. I made it pretty. Petty, but pretty. You want HR hungry, you plate the meal. I added a timeline down the left margin like a train schedule of bad choices. 5:52 p.m., Uber to the atrium. 7:40 p.m. wine with teleporting Marco. 1:41 a.m. PDF edits. 2:13 a.m. croissant catastrophe. 7:06 a.m. egg-based perjury. If you can tell a story with dots and lines, you don't need adjectives. I set an emotional boundary for myself. Do not chase the DM screenshots. Do not crack the phone. Do not play detective in the bedroom. Policy is sharper than pain. If I go policy, I win on paper. If I go pain, we scream and break plates, and someone has to clean. Spoiler, it's me. It's always me. Back to Urban River. The invoices used the exact phrasing from my wife's previous client, S.O. Zaz, like she controls Cedar. Credibility, and pasted it onto a fake vendor. The totals were round. 5,000, 5,000, 10,000. Fraud loves round numbers because math is hard after deceit. Line items said, brand strategy sprint and persona refresh, which is marketing for, we sat in a room and argued about fonts. But there were no deliverables, no share links, no decks. If a consultant ships work and nobody uploads it, did consulting happen? Philosophy says maybe. Accounting says absolutely not. I mapped approvers. Her manager greenlit every single one in under 10 minutes. Either he's lightning fast or he's skimming subject lines like a raccoon on espresso. I flagged him as enabler or napper. Then I checked his access. Surprise. He has admin privileges in the expense tool. Not wrong by itself, but spicy when combined with 1 a.m. activity logs. I smelled overtime of the unethical variety. I wrote myself rules. Rule 1, evidence over ego. Rule 2, assume HR hates adjectives. Rule 3, if a joke helps me type, keep it. If it helps me confront, delete it. So the binder got jokes in the margins, but the memo stayed clean. Think museum touring comedian. The plaque is serious. The tour guide is me. Next, photos. I zoomed on the watch again, cross-referenced with LinkedIn headshots in her org's partner directory, and found exactly 2 men who love a bezel like that. One is a regional sales VP with a bio that reads, husband, dad, golfer, ethics champion. Of course it does. I didn't write his name down. I'm not there yet. The binder is for HR's appetite, not for me to send postcards. I tested my chain of custody. Every file got a hash. Every export got a checksum. I emailed backups to a burner cloud like a paranoid grandma hiding cash in flour. If she tried to gaslight me later, I wanted to be able to say, respectfully, ma'am, Shaw 256 disagrees. I ran a small sting without touching her world. I exported her expense policy PDF, highlighted sections on falsification, kickbacks, and loyalty point misappropriation. Yes, that's a thing. If you earn points on company spend, some policies call it theft. I wrote a footnote. See Section 8.3, points flow constitutes value. Legalese for, you stole vibes. Then I stepped back. No scenes. No late night confrontation at the kitchen island. I brewed tea, stared at the tidy little museum of betrayal, and realized I had everything except a venue. I didn't need catharsis. I needed an inbox that says received. The binder wasn't for her. It was built for people who speak risk as a first language and get excited by a well-numbered exhibit list. I closed the lid on my laptop, patted the petty, and told my heart it could have 5 minutes to feel dumb. Then I set a timer, and when it chimed, I went back to facts. Time to stop collecting and start arranging. Client dinners, org charts, and one very loud watch. I started naming the clients like hurricanes because they kept showing up and ruining infrastructure. Cute roster, zero Kieran Pulse. I checked the company's public portal, the intern playground, and found no Jensen, no Mari, no K Patel, no mysterious D. Not active, not prospects, not even ghosts. They were as real as my desire to try CrossFit. Receipts loved their little flourishes. Client dinner, bold cab for Jensen, adorable fiction. The tips? Identical 18% every time, which is not generosity. It's copy-paste etiquette. Servers? Marco, omnipresent, teleporting across cities like a waiter with a wormhole. AP reads in grayscale, and this was fan fiction in color. Then the loyalty angle. A hotel folio labeled Client Room, Jensen, and whose loyalty number is on it? Hers. Rookie move. It's like robbing a bank and swiping your rewards card at the door. Points credited to her account while a client allegedly needed a skyline and a king bed. Why does a client need your status upgrade? Because the client is vibes. One image attachment played cinematographer, wine glass reflection, an arm across from her wearing a chunky chronograph, stainless band, the kind of watch you buy to announce your quarterly bonus. My wife wears a slim guilt bracelet that counts steps and judges carbs. This wrist said tea time at 7. I zoomed, sighed, and wrote, hello golfer, rides filled in geography. Office pickup to the Atrium, which is not a client office. It's a condo fortress with a pet spa and residents named after cocktails. Drop-offs aligned with dinners. Dinners aligned with turn-down service. Client engagement done with rom-com geography. Everything 3 blocks from anywhere. I ran the petty directory cross-check. Partner company, regional sales VP, lives at the Atrium. Headshot features the same lighthouse watch in 2 separate publicity photos. I didn't say his name. I just wrote VP Golf Watch and underlined it like a disappointed PTA treasurer. Hotel folios are snitches with printers. 2 client rooms same night, same property. 1 paid, 1 comped, both earning points to her number. Suite categories, not. Host a client, floors. Logistics for an overnight duet. I stacked the fake clients against his public calendar. Her offsites magnetized to his regional meets. Whenever he rallied the troops to chant pipeline, one of her clients got hungry within walking distance. Their per diems twinned, same days, same odd cents, like synchronized swimmers in murky water. Romance with receipts. Slack preview offered weather, not evidence. Checking in later X drifted across her screen one morning. I didn't open it. Chain of custody lives to fight another day. Tone was enough. Familiarity was enough. I stayed in sunlight and policy. Leverage isn't rage, it's rules. I sketched the org chart. Her manager, his manager, dotted lines to compliance, the sad box labeled expense integrity. Arrows drew themselves. Who rubber stamped what? Where Urban River did parkour past AP, and how admin overrides became a slip and slide at 1 a.m. Lawyers hate adjectives. I gave them nouns that hurt. Misclassification, falsification, control circumvention, loyalty value kickback, conflict of interest. I built the per diem twins grid. Her totals left, his public travel breadcrumbs right. Overlaps smirked. Thursday to Saturday, Miami. Sorry, Denver with palm trees. I wrote, he eats when she yogas. Petty keeps me typing, policy keeps me landing. The petty science stacked, the watch, the reflection. The condo lobby directory listing owners by last initial and floor range, matching our VPs. I didn't need photos. I needed a straight line I could draw without crossing a legal one. Everything changed when I stopped collecting and started arranging. HR doesn't want pain, HR wants handrails. I drafted a monotone memo, numbered paragraphs, exhibit references, policy citations. I removed the word affair. My business wasn't love. It was fraud indicators and admin-enabled control bypass. Say control circumvention. Watch security's pupils dilate. Boundary paragraph in, I'm disclosing an internal control concern. I'm conflicted due to marital status. Please exclude me from interviews. Translation. I'm not here for drama. I'm here for controls and croissants with timestamps. Before pulling the trigger, I asked the room you're in now, what would you do? Sit down for a heart-to-heart or let controls do the talking. Trigger and trap. Trigger. Urban River, a ghost with a bank account. Trap. Timing. I booked a fully refundable client lunch draft in the expense tool from my account. Same hotel cafe she adores. Then did nothing. Midnight Thursday, the audit log stretched. Her device browsed drafts at 12:42, opened mine at 12:46, and a new expense appeared on her account at 12:52 with the exact merchant, subtotal, memo, and her signature 18% like a fingerprint dipped in ranch. Matching device ID, matching IP, matching stupidity. I didn't touch a thing. I set the cheese on the tile and named the snapshot mousecam_001. Risk math said stop. She needed per diems, therefore she invented clients. Invented clients required rooms, therefore she booked suites. Suites earned points, therefore she siphoned value. Add falsified docs and admin overrides. Therefore HR can't ignore this without writing their own pink slips. I closed the binder, breathed, and looked around our very clean kitchen for an alternate ending. None arrived. So I chose a venue. Not the living room, not a parking lot showdown, not a shaky phone call. An email to people who eat fraud for breakfast and call it Tuesday. Playing dumb, setting traps. I decided to go full golden retriever. Friendly, oblivious, wagging tail, zero suspicion. I made pancakes and small talk. How was Denver? I asked, like a game show host who already knew the prize was Miami humidity. She goes, snowed a little. My eyebrows considered unionizing. The report said palm trees and SPF. I smiled so hard my molars filed an HR complaint. Next microtest. Hey, could I peek at your travel portal? I think I can beat your flight prices. I've got a trick with flexible dates. Translation. Hand me the keys. Let me see the garage. She dodged like a matador. It says I shouldn't share, she said, sipping coffee with the confidence of a magician whose hat is full of contraband rabbits. Cool. Noted. I said, no worries. I'll just stick to my spreadsheets. Like I wasn't building a RICO case with conditional formatting. Prep phase. I cleaned my fingerprints by not having any. I scraped public stuff, conference agendas, hotel event calendars, loyalty program breadcrumbs. Totally legal, 100% boring, and somehow spicier than gossip. I built a quiet little mirror of her world that didn't touch her account, then sat it next to the binder like, meet your understudy, time for bait. I created a fake client lunch in the company expense tool from my own profile, draft only, not submitted. I picked the same hotel cafe she adores and slotted it for Thursday at 12:30 p.m. I wrote the world's most generic note, discussed scope and next steps. That phrase is beige wallpaper. I saved the draft and went to bed like a fisherman who kissed the worm for luck. Midnight hits on Thursday and my audit logs stretch like cats. The tool records device IDs for draft views because some engineer once loved me in a past life. I watch the activity feed, 12:42 a.m. Her device ID pings the draft's index. 12:46, it opens my fake lunch. 12:52, a new expense appears on her account with the exact merchant, the exact subtotal, the exact memo, plus her signature 18% tip like a fingerprint dipped in ranch. I didn't touch a thing. I just set a shiny cheese cube on a tile and named the snapshot mousecam_1. Playing dumb became a performance art. Friday morning, I asked, want me to grab groceries after work? She says, I've got a client thing. That phrase is a bingo free space now. I go, cool, hope they love truffle fries. She freezes for half a blink, the way a deer considers therapy, then laughs. You're funny. I am, tragically. Another trap. Calendars. I sent myself a fake calendar invite titled Yoga, Restore Plus Breathe, set to overlap the time she tends to recharge. She saw it pop up on the shared kitchen iPad and said, "Yoga now? Since when?" I said, "Since always." Then I passed the iPad to her and watched the pupil dilate-dilute dance as the lock screen pinged with her real calendar. Regional Summit, Atrium Ballroom. She tilted it away like it had opinions. We both pretended we hadn't seen it. Our home was a diorama of polite denial. I needed a control group, so I did a baseline expense in my own tool. Same restaurant, same date, different memo. I filed it correctly with a real client lunch. Audit logs showed normal approval times and standard AP routing. Then I compared to her cloned lunch, routed through an admin override at 1:07 a.m., approved in 7 minutes flat by Captain Rubber Stamp. That contrast sings like a choir. I labeled it Exhibit Contrast, Hallelujah. I kept the question soft. "Hey, random, what do you usually tip?" She goes, "It depends." I say, "Oh, nice, like 18% exactly?" She smiles. "Yeah, sometimes." My internal monologue pulls the fire alarm. Outside voice says, "Cool, forensic snack." I checked IP blocks from the expense tool's export. Her midnight filings came from the condo building's ISP range, not the hotel. Which means she left the hotel, went to his tower, and filed expenses from a couch that probably has a throw blanket named Aspen. I wrote, "Couch filing, seasonal." The last trap was the loyalty honeypot. I booked a refundable stay at the same chain under my own account, then canceled, and watched the points system do the hokey pokey. 30 minutes later, hers showed a tiny points blip attributed to elite shared amenity, a glitch I'd seen on forums. She'd added her number to a second room in the same reservation tree. That's how you siphon value on company coin. I screenshotted the forum thread, then the activity, then my soul leaving my body and returning with a calculator. I sat on the couch and did the world's gentlest confrontation cosplay. "Want to do something low-key this weekend?" She says. "I'm traveling Sunday night." I nod. "Cool, Miami or Denver?" She blinks. "What?" I shrug. "Forecast looks beachy." She exhales through her nose like a dragon at a spa and says, "You're being weird." I say, "I get that a lot." Chain of custody check. Every trap generated its own timestamps, hashes, and screenshots, saved directly from source. Systems. Read-only exports. Checksum recorded. Files mirrored to a drive named recipes because I am who I am. If this ever went to policy court, I wanted the judge. Hi, HR, to taste the iron. Then I picked the venue. HR loves receipts. I had a warehouse. But first, one last dumb act. I asked, "Could you forward me your expense policy? I keep losing the PDF." She sent it in 2 minutes. Section 8.3 stared at me like a disappointed ant. I replied, "Thanks," with a smiley, then dragged the policy into Exhibit A, like placing a candle on a birthday cake I planned to blow out with a leaf blower. HR over heartbreak. Rationale first, heartbreak later. HR needs fraud more than I need closure, and policy chews louder than grief. So I brewed tea, straightened my petty museum of exhibits, and wrote the most boring, lethal memo of my life. No adjectives, no saga, no affair. I used phrases like misclassification of expenses, control circumvention, and loyalty value misappropriation. It read like a beige wall with knives. I numbered sections. I cited clauses by paragraph. I stapled reality to policy with exhibit references like a librarian with a grudge. Exhibit A, expense policy, section 8.3, points flow constitutes value. Exhibit B, breakfast for 2 at 7:06 a.m. with a solo travel narrative that apparently needed company. Exhibit C, ghost vendor Urban River with no W-9 and invoices born at 1:41 a.m., same as her nocturnal poetry hour. Exhibit D, admin overrides from Captain Rubber Stamp. Exhibit E, device logs proving my fake client lunch got copied like a bad haircut. The subject line had to be corporate poetry. I typed, internal control concern, expense integrity. That's the email equivalent of pulling a fire alarm politely. In the body, I included a conflict of interest disclosure. I am married to the submitter. I'm reporting an integrity issue. Please exclude me from interviews. Translation. I'm not here for drama. I'm here for controls. Then I blind copied the legal ethics inbox because I wasn't about to hold this bag alone if it exploded. I attached the binder link, set permissions to read only, and wrote, "Please advise next steps." For flair, I even dropped a tiny croissant emoji next to the 2:13 a.m. exhibit in the index. Professional? Debatable? Satisfying? deeply. Send, sip, breathe. 20 minutes later, legal sent an invite. If you've never been validated by a calendar notification, I recommend it. 2 names appeared I didn't recognize, which is my favorite pronoun for people who get things done. The invite subject, expense integrity review, initial conference. 30 minutes block, no emojis. The corporate equivalent of a priest clearing their afternoon. We met over video in a room so quiet I could hear my self-respect brushing its teeth. 2 humans appeared with faces that could win at poker and funerals. "We've received your materials," one said, voiced like a policy manual. "We're prioritizing this." I said, "Understood," like a man ordering fries with dignity. They asked for raw exports. I gave them everything. Native CSVs, tool logs, hash files, the mousecam screenshots. I walked them through the but, therefore chain. No accusations, just cause and effect like nursery rhymes for auditors. They hummed at Urban River. No W-9? None. No onboarding? Leapfrogged AP with a manager override. They wrote notes in silence that felt like thunder. They flagged the admin access. "Can we confirm who has superuser rights?" I said yes, sent the system role matrix. They compared midnight logs against admin footprints and nodded the way wolves nod at a jogger. One of them paused at the 2:13 a.m. Croissant exhibit in the index and smirked at the emoji. Even HR speaks pastry when it's policy with frosting. Then came the watch. I didn't say watch. I said consistent presence inferred from ride destinations, meeting locations, and calendar overlaps with regional sales leadership. They didn't blink, which means they were already sniffing that tree. "We'll handle scope," they said, which is legal for "we know who to scare." They scheduled custodial steps with the delicacy of a bomb squad. "We'll image her laptop. We'll collect from the approver. We'll notify compliance. We'll coordinate with expense integrity to freeze pending reimbursements." I said, "I prefer to be excluded." They said, "Already noted." Bless them and their deadpan mercy. They ended with a short instruction: "Do not confront." As if I had the energy. All communication goes through us. Perfect. I hung up, made coffee, petted the quiet, and didn't take a victory lap. There's no victory in Ash. There's only sequence. 2 hours later, the building security system did slam poetry. Her badge died at the turnstile. His too. Laptop surrendered to a polite person wearing a lanyard and a smile that says, "I'm here for your data, not your feelings." They were escorted to conference rooms with the kind of neutral artwork that witnesses crimes. Elevator of shame. Floor 3 to lobby. No musical accompaniment. My phone buzzed. Her text? "Did you do something?" I stared at the kettle and let policy answer for me with silence. I don't argue with people mid-investigation. That's how you end up monologuing while someone empties caches. I put the phone face down like a tiny coffin and checked my inbox instead. Legal looped me on nothing useful, which was perfect. "We're proceeding. We will update you on outcomes relevant to financial recovery." Music to my accountant's soul. HR sent a one-liner to acknowledge receipt and thanked me for the clarity of exhibits. If you've never been complimented on exhibit clarity while your marriage keels over, it's a high-low combo you won't forget. Late afternoon, I got the courtesy ping. Immediate suspensions pending investigation. Word traveled in that weird, silent way offices hum when drama chooses a cube. I went for a walk, counted cracks in the sidewalk, waved at a dog named Pancake, and came home to a kitchen that looked exactly like the morning, like time had politely refused to move. I kept my rule. I don't talk to suspects. I talk to sections. Section 8.3 still said what it said. The binder still weighed what it weighed. My heart did its dumb flopping thing, begging for old jokes and rowdy takeout nights. I let it flop. Then I opened the dishwasher, unloaded plates like therapy reps, and let HR love receipts the way I love quiet systems. All the way, with a signature. Interview day. Quiet bombs. Interview day felt like waiting for a thunderstorm in a library. I wore my nicest neutral face and made coffee like it was a legal requirement. Legal showed up on video as 2 avatars named We Don't Smile and We Only Nod. I love those guys. They asked for raw exports again, because nothing says romance like CSVs. I handed over the native files, the hashes, the little mousecam masterpiece. They didn't gasp, they hummed, which is lawyer for, "Oh, that's bad." They started with confirmations. Ghost vendor lacks W-9? Correct. AP never approved? Bypassed with admin override. One of them typed like a stenographer possessed by a calculator. The other compared timestamps and said, "Her laptop shows PDF edits at 1:41 a.m. I sipped. That hour again. Her witching hour for creative accounting. They requested the admin role matrix. I sent it. They compared that to the audit logs and said, "We'll be back." An hour later, the building did a little HR ballet. Badges turned to pumpkins. Laptops got hugged by forensics people who say image like it's a verb you should be afraid of. She messaged me, "Did you do something?" I stared at the kettle until it clicked like a guilty metronome and answered her with nothing. Policy has the floor. I don't co-host chaos. Legal scheduled my interview in a room that looked like a waiting area for plants. Neutral art. Chairs that whisper, confess. They thanked me for the clarity of the exhibits, which is like complimenting a fire alarm for being loud. I walked them through my map. Smallest number first logic, the croissant breadcrumb trail, the teleporter named Marco, and the watch that wanted screen time. I kept it clinical. This receipt conflicts with policy subsection 5.2. This admin override avoids the three-way match. My heart tried to jump in with, and then she, but I shut the door on it. We're doing nouns, not knives. They asked, motivation? I said, per diem and points, plus convenience. Intent inferred from pattern. No drama, just cause and effect. They asked if I'd confronted her. I said no, and they nodded like I'd finally passed adulthood. Good, one said. Containment matters. Then, the fun bit. Its forensics team popped into the call like a plot twist wearing polos. We've confirmed cross-account access, they said. His admin profile viewed her drafts repeatedly around 1 a.m. Not hand-holding, screen-holding. Legal did that silent eye telepathy that says, oh, we're escalating. They didn't say his name. They didn't have to. Golf Watch guy just earned a membership card. They moved fast, immediate suspensions. They collected devices, image drives, froze reimbursements mid-flight like mosquitoes in amber. The elevator delivered humbled executives to ground level, one ding at a time. Across town, a conference room filled with the sound of HR paperwork getting stapled with the vigor of justice. They circled back to me for cleanup questions. How did you get CRM access? Public portal. Any personal communications? None collected. Any direct evidence of personal relationship? I observed proximity and pattern. I defer scope to you. They respect that kind of boring. Drama gets you a tissue. Boring gets you outcomes. They asked about Urban River. I gave them my grocery list of red flags, round numbers, midnight-born invoices, zero web presence, reused so language, no deliverables, and the manager's 7-minute approvals like he was speedrunning.
Negligence. AP joined to say, we've never paid them through proper channels. Compliance joined just to exhale in italics. Then came a tiny miracle, their expense tool's server logs. Each shared a snippet that might as well have been written in neon. Admin user underscore 02 viewing to be drafts. Timestamp equals 0046. Employee underscore user underscore 19 creating slash expense. Ref equals clone. The overlap was a waltz. We'll handle interviews, legal said, which is corporate for we're bringing chairs. They asked about my ask. I said, recovery and controls. I didn't need flames. I needed accounting. We'll pursue clawback and potential reporting obligations. That phrase, reporting obligations, put a chill on the room like someone opened a freezer full of consequences. They released me with instructions. No contact. If contacted, forward. I said okay and went to my kitchen to pet the quiet again. The printer took a personal day. The kettle clicked once and decided to mind its business. I watched late sunlight crawl across a countertop we'd picked together, and I let myself miss the version of us that argued about coasters instead of compliance. Her next text, we need to talk. The 3 dots pulsed like a heart monitor for a goldfish. I muted the thread and sent myself an email instead. Time-stamped note to file. Subject contacted. No response per legal. Tiny acts of control when your life is a pillow fight with bricks. In the evening, legal sent a one-liner. Interviews underway. Preliminary findings substantiate concerns. Preservation notices issued. Translation. The quiet bombs exploded exactly where the fuse said they would. I said nothing out loud. Inside, I said, of course they did. When you arrange the dominoes, you don't act surprised the line falls. I made dinner that tasted like cardboard and progress. I washed the pan like it owed me money. Then I sat with the kind of tired that lives in your bones and thought about how stupid it all was. A $7 croissant, a watch reflection, and an admin toggle that turned my marriage into exhibits. Quiet bombs did their work. Tomorrow would be the door chain. The door chain conversation. She showed up at our door with the urgency of a fire drill and the mascara strategy of a storm cloud. Knock knock, rapid, nervous, like she thought rhythm could unlock amnesty. I slid the deadbolt, cracked the door, and kept the chain on. Boundaries are just policies with hardware. We need to talk, she said, eyes glossy, breath fast, purse clutched like it contained a lawyer. We can, I said, but the chain stays. Safety first storytelling. Her mouth tightened. Are you serious? Deeply, I said, like a per diem spreadsheet.
She exhaled and tried a softer voice. This is getting out of hand. People at work. Something happened. Something did, I said. Name one client. She flinched. You could hear her memory riffling through a Rolodex of fictional characters. Jensen, she tried, gentle. Not in CRM, I said. Try again. Why are you doing this? She asked, escalating directly to victim hero. It was work. Client entertainment at 2:13 a.m. featuring a $7 croissant and a room incidental, I said. In a city you weren't in? That's not work. That's storytelling with snacks. She swallowed, eyes bouncing from the chain to my face like a metronome that had lost confidence. It's not what it looks like. Correct, I said. It's theft. She blinked slow, once, twice, like maybe the truth would blink back. I didn't steal anything. You falsified clients. You rerouted charges. You accrued loyalty points on company spend. You cloned a draft I left as bait. And you collaborated with someone who has admin privileges at 1 a.m. to glide past controls. I kept my tone mid-voltage. HR loves a level voice. Who told you that? She snapped. Quick switch to offense. Are you spying on me? Logs told me, I said. They're punctual and unemotional. Honestly, a great hang. I can explain, she offered, reaching for a sympathetic chord she hadn't tuned. It got complicated. My boss pushes us to entertain, and sometimes the lines blur and... Name one client, I repeated. Silence. You could hear the fridge hum and a tiny piece of my optimism crawl under it to die. She tried a new angle. We can fix this. We can return whatever. We can say it was a misunderstanding. You already said it was work. You already said it wasn't what it looked like. You can't keep moving the furniture and call it the same room. Her chin wobbled. The mascara finally committed to gravity. I messed up, okay? I messed up. The words came quiet, flat. Not confession, strategy. I'm not a priest, I said. I'm an auditor. And this isn't confession. It's reconciliation with policy. All communication goes through HR. She took a small step forward, and the chain pulled taut, whispering metal policy into the moment. Please, she said, voice smaller. Can we talk without them? We had that option, I said, when it was just a question mark and a pastry.
You chose a sweet. Her eyes flashed at sweet. You're being cruel. I'm being precise. I kept thinking of the timeline, those tidy bad decisions marching like parade floats. Also, the printer is tired. She reached up to wipe her face with the back of her hand. There's stuff you don't know. I'm sure, I said. But I don't need to know it. HR does. She tried the lifeline I knew was coming. Are you ending this? We're ending the part where I handle crimes in my kitchen, I said. The rest is paperwork. She winced at crimes, like the word had sharp corners. You reported me, she said, stating it as if saying it might cancel it. I reported an internal control concern, I said. You happen to be Exhibit B. She laughed once, brittle. You and your exhibits. Me and my boundaries, I corrected. They're new. I like them. Her expression stayed on that laugh a beat too long, and then the mask shifted again. He pushed me, she said, the pronoun slipping like a bowling ball. He said it was fine. Then he can explain his midnight browsing of your drafts, I said. I won't be your alibi or his applause. Do you hate me? She asked, small voice again. No, I said, and I meant it. I mourn the version of us that paid bills on time, watched dumb shows, and left our phones face up on the table. She looked past me at the kitchen we built, the cheap plant thriving out of spite, the magnet that says this meeting could have been an email. I'm scared, she said. Me too, I said. But fear doesn't make good entries. She pulled her shoulders in like a tent in wind. What do I do? You call HR, I said. You get a lawyer. You tell the truth. You don't text me strategy. You don't drop by unannounced. You definitely don't touch evidence. She nodded, then shook her head, then nodded again, as if trying to agree in all directions. Can I have my... She gestured somewhere behind me at the ghost of a sweater. Email me a list, I said. We'll coordinate pickups through council. A long, soft beat. She took a breath that sounded like a page turning and tried one last time. Can we talk later? Just us? No, I said, gentle, not mean. Just signatures. We stood there, the chain a small, silly fence between two people who had once shared passwords for streaming and now needed a notary to exchange doormats. She wiped her face again, nodded to nobody in particular, and stepped back. Good night, she said. Good night, I said. I closed the door. The chain settled. The house sighed. I rested my forehead against the wood for a count of 5, then counted the tiles in the hall, then opened my email and sent one line to legal. Contact attempted at residence. I referred her to HR only. Then I turned off the porch light and let the quiet sit down beside me like an old friend who knows where all the mugs are.
corporate fallout and collateral. Corporate fallout doesn't arrive with sirens. It arrives with calendar invites and a sudden shortage of smiles. By Monday, the rumor mill was grinding beans. Someone in sales whispered, "Audit." Someone in marketing whispered, "Witch hunt." And finance whispered, "Finally." They interviewed Golf Watch guy first. He walked in a VP and walked out a man who just learned what forensic image means. Denial lasted until legal slid a printed page across the table with his admin user utter so 2-log waltzing through PDL/drafts at 0:46. He tried the classic, "I was mentoring," which is an adorable verb for midnight. Then they showed the loyalty point accruals traced to her number and the mirror image per diems on his reports. He folded like a travel umbrella. You could hear the creases from accounting. Compliance did a sweep, and the building coughed up 2 more perk piggybackers, both junior managers who thought elite welcome amenity meant take-home slippers. Those guys handed in their badges before lunch and went home to update their LinkedIn to seeking new opportunities with the bravery of a motivational poster. Finance got giddy in the way only finance can. They installed new triggers in the expense tool that flagged identical tip percentages across different cities, introduced vendor validation rules that make ghost companies believe in the afterlife, and tightened travel approvals like jeans after the holidays. A whole control pack rolled out. 3-way match restored, admin overrides gated behind security with a side eye, and a weekly expense integrity stand-up where everyone pretended to love mornings. Outcomes landed like stapled memos. She terminated for cause. The letter was short, clinical, and used falsification in a sentence that could slice bread. Him, demoted, pay frozen, clawback pending, compliance retraining scheduled at 8 a.m. on a Friday, which is HR's version of medieval stocks. They also yanked his admin privileges so hard, the tool sent a goodbye email. Final indignity. The company headshot came down, and his LinkedIn swapped the glossy banner for humility. No watch in sight this time. Funny how the chronograph disappears when the minutes finally count. The best quiet slam was the loyalty point reversal. The chain scrubbed her accruals tied to company spend and sent a statement with negative numbers so red it looked festive. She lost the suite upgrades, the breakfast coupons, and probably a towel she'd emotionally adopted. Somewhere in there, a tiny croissant emoji in my exhibit index felt like it finally earned its pension. I didn't cheer. I just filed it under balance restored and made tea like a responsible adult. Then came the invoice. The company tallied every suite, dinner, ride, and Urban River's cute river of cash, added penalties, admin costs, and the joyless fee called investigative administration. It landed in her inbox and his, and CC'd legal, compliance, and AP, the holy trinity plus their chatty cousin. A separate letter flagged Urban River to the bank for potential fraud, and I pictured a sad briefcase behind a dumpster learning about account holds. Noise happened because offices are high schools with lanyards. Someone said she'd been set up, someone else said the VP was targeted, and a third person brought muffins to look innocent. I stayed quiet, boring, safe. I answered no questions. My calendar said heads down like I was pretending to be a turtle. The collateral was weirdly domestic. Her group chat exhaled into the void and then became a true crime podcast about how it could have gone differently. His golf buddies switched tea times to Wednesday mornings and discovered, tragically, that none of them like each other sober. The rooftop bar lost 2 regulars and gained a new policy about receipts with legible server names that are never, ever Marco. Compliance did one more lap and found Urban River's money trails looping through a manager override and a bank account with a name that didn't match any vendor onboarding. They referred it to the Fidelity bond carrier and updated the auditors. That phrase, Fidelity bond, reassures me like a weighted blanket shaped like a ledger. Insurance exists for exactly this blend of arrogance and appetizers. HR sent me a tidy update. We are pursuing full recovery and reporting per policy. Music to my inbox. Then legal, crisp as a pressed shirt. Your cooperation materially improved time to disposition. If you've never been thanked for your contribution to time to disposition while eating a leftover burrito, it's a genre. Golf Watch guy tried a last-ditch PR tour. He told a few people it was consensual, like that mattered to the auditor's calculators. Consent is not a GL code. He also floated business development gray area, and compliance responded by painting the gray area bright orange and parking a compliance officer on it with a whistle. The company held an all hands with slides about integrity in practice, which is corporate for, please stop lighting money on fire. The COO said, trust is our currency, and half the room nodded while the other half tried to look like they hadn't ever expensed a scented candle. New training rolled out. No more loyalty points on company dime. No more client names without CRM tickets. No more room incidentals that say MISC unless you enjoy interviews. I walked past the printer that started this mess and gave it a respectful pat. That little gremlin watched more crime than a CCTV, spit out confessions at dawn, jammed at cliffhangers, and somehow chose the exact moments to go full Greek chorus. If office equipment could testify, my printer would need a non-disclosure and a spa day. We kept working, life kept moving, and a little space opened up in my chest where panic had been living rent-free. Fallout happened. Collateral hit. The rumors died down into the usual office hum. And somewhere in a server log, the midnight dance of admin user under 02 sat like a lesson in fluorescent lighting. Policy is boring until it isn't. I sent HR the bill. There's a special kind of serenity that arrives when you realize your love life now lives in accounts receivable. I opened a fresh spreadsheet, stretched my fingers like a pianist about to play Chopin, and titled the tab, Reimbursement of Shenanigans. Then I itemized like a petty saint. Suites first. Every executive corner with the skyline view got its own line. Dates, folio numbers, room class, client room fiction flag, loyalty points credited to Madame Marriott. I added the rate differential between standard business class and feelings with a minibar, then tacked on city tax, resort fees, and a surcharge for emotional labor, which I renamed administrative costs so legal wouldn't faint. Dinner's next. I broke out the Jensen Mari K. Patel D Quartet like a tasting flight of fraud. 2 entrees, 1 dessert, the omnipresent 18% tip, and teleporter Marco's cameo. I included comparable per diem caps to show how far the oysters swam past policy. A notes column listed CRM mismatch for every fictional palette. For the wineglass reflection night, the watch got a discreet mention. Counterparty present inferred. See Exhibit Wine 01. Ride shares fell into place like obedient ducks. Office to atrium, atrium to steakhouse, steakhouse to atrium, atrium to airport that wasn't. I added duplicates where memos changed hats, tagged the cloned IDs, and calculated the overage against legitimate routes. It's amazing what happens when you let a map tell the truth without adjectives. Urban River got its own sheet titled Tributaries of Nonsense. I listed each round number invoice, timestamped creation windows, missing W9, no onboarding, managers 7-minute approvals, and .00 deliverables. For kicks and evidence, I mapped the text fragments lifted straight from old sows, highlighted like a freshman discovering plagiarism the hard way. Totals in bold irregularities in red, and a lovely grand total that made my kettle whistle sympathetically. Then I seasoned the math. Interest at the corporate policy rate for improper use. Administrative recovery fees straight from the handbook. Tax gross up where the benefits had technically created value. If you're going to break policy, you get billed like a hotel that charges for breathing. I added a recovery narrative. Misuse of company funds via falsification and control circumvention. Loyalty value accrual reversed. See exhibits. Dry, brutal, delicious. Cover note time. I wrote, please apply the attached itemization to separation accounting and concurrent clawback actions. See attached schedule for Urban River disallowance and suggested insurer notice. CC, compliance. CC, APP. BCC, legal ethics inbox because mama didn't raise a bag holder. Subject line, recovery schedule, expense misuse, final totals. Attach, verify links. One last kiss on the checksum. Send. Also, because comedy loves symmetry, I marked the grand total line on my copy with, you guessed it, a croissant emoji. Consider it the pastry seal of accuracy. HR replied like a metronome wearing a tie. Received. We are pursuing full recovery and reporting. 14 words, no emoji, but I could hear the sound of calculators warming up. Compliance added a follow-up. Fidelity bond claim initiated. Urban River referred. If you ever want to know what joy looks like in my world, it's a Fidelity bond waking up with purpose. The hotel chain, bless their transactional hearts, sent a separate statement. Points reversal complete. Elite status adjusted. Translation. The sweet fairy died. I printed it for my binder, not out of cruelty, out of symmetry. You accrue value on the company's dime. The company calls the bank. The bank calls the points back like a stern ant. Balance isn't always poetic. Sometimes it's just negative numbers with satisfying alignment. I didn't wait for applause. I balanced the subtotal page and added a thin final row that read, personal reconciliation, $00. That was for me. There's no line item called apology, no GL account called closure. You don't get reimbursed for dignity, you just stop hemorrhaging it. HR circled back with logistics. We will apply against final pay, accrued PTO payout, and any severance disallowance per cause determination. Remaining balance will be invoiced. A sober parade of words that meant the company would take its pound of budgets first Then send a bill for the leftovers. They asked if I had anything further. I said, controls. They said, already underway, and attached a draft policy update that banned exact tip patterning, condo ISP filings after midnight, and loyalty accruals on comped rooms. Somewhere, Marco lost omnipresence. I wrote one more email, small and neat. For records, I haven't sought personal damages or attempted to contact involved parties' families. My ask remains recovery and controls. The reply was a crisp, noted. It mattered to me that the paper trail knew I hadn't weaponized pain. I weaponized policy. There's a difference. When the invoice packet finally went out, a tidy PDF addressed to 2 recipients with balances bolded and deadlines friendly. I poured tea and listened to the printer do its chattering aria. Pages slid into the tray like snow. I clipped them, labeled the spine, recovery closed, and shelved it next to the policy updates. My museum had a new wing. Consequences. I won't lie and say it felt good. It felt correct. Like reconciling an account that's been off by a stupid $7 and discovering all the places those sevens multiplied in the dark. I chose balance over apology, controls over catharsis. HR sent the bill. I sent the silence. Exit strategy. Clean divorce, no fireworks. Divorce sounds like cymbals and yelling in movies. In real life, it sounds like keyboards and throat clearing. I hired a lawyer who speaks fluent civilized disappointment. First meeting, she slid me tissues and a checklist. No fault filing, she said. We can keep misconduct exhibits sealed like leftovers. Music to my introvert heart. I don't want a parade. I want paperwork that behaves. We inventoried the life we'd built, which turns out to be mostly receipts and a couch that sighs when you sit. I skipped furniture bargains. She can have the sofa with the emotional mileage. I took equity and retirement like a dad leaving a picnic with the cooler. Condition? No spousal support. Terminated for cause plus fraud is the legal version of you may not pass go. My lawyer nodded. We'll propose clean lines. I said, please draw them with a ruler. Communication became email only, which is how my soul prefers conflict. My lawyer handled everything. I just signed where the arrows pointed. No scenes, no midnight negotiations in parking lots. No, let's talk like adults. That ends with someone crying into a reusable tote. The forms marched through DocuSign like bored soldiers. I added one custom clause. No mutual friend arbitration. Our friends are sweet, not Switzerland. We wrote a family script for the minimum viable truth. We're separating. We're safe. No details. If someone asked why, we deployed the conversational smoke bomb. We appreciate your support. It worked on exactly half the people. The rest sent paragraphs that started with, not my business, but, and then did crimes with commas. I ignored them. If your text includes the word tea, I assume you're thirsty, not helpful. Her lawyer sent a half-hearted attempt at framing. Stress, blurred lines, misunderstanding. My lawyer sent back policy, falsification, recovery. You can't cross-examine a ledger. We stuck to nouns. The settlement became a menu. Property distribution, retirement carve-out, each of us keeping our own debts like personalized backpacks of regret. We set the kitchen clock to adult and walked away from sentiment like it charged an hourly rate. Grief still showed up uninvited? It didn't knock like she did. It seeped under the door when I folded towels. I'd match corners and remember her insisting I do it store neat, and then my throat would do the thing. I let it. It was a small, private weather system. Progress felt like laundry done. Not exciting, but your house smells better afterward. Pickups were choreographed like a NASA docking. She emailed a list. Sweaters, charger, a book she never finished. We scheduled a window. I labeled a box. My neighbor stood watch with a clipboard because my life is now a sitcom about processes. She arrived. No mascara drama this time. Just tired. We didn't hug. We didn't reminisce. She signed a receipt for her own hoodie like it was a legal document. In our new universe, it was. Friends tried to audition for the role of narrator. He pushed her. She was unhappy. You work too much. Cute theories. I thanked them and changed the subject to dogs. People calm down when you ask about dogs. One buddy asked if I felt vindicated. I said, I feel balanced. He said, that's bleak. I said, it's honest. The final hearing was a Zoom rectangle with bad lighting and a judge who pronounced our names like a spelling test. We affirmed things. We assented to waivers. We digitally raised hands and promised not to be stupid. The judge said, anything further? My lawyer said no. I definitely did not ask for the record to reflect the croissant. Growth. Afterwards, I walked around the block and waved at Pancake again. He doesn't care about policy. He cares about sticks. I envy him daily. I came home and updated my passwords, not out of paranoia, out of ritual. New house rules. Transparency with myself. 0 mystery charges with cute emojis, and my phone lives face up because secrets are heavy and screens are small. The weirdest part was how quiet the house got when the printer retired from drama. The kettle clicked like before. The plant kept thriving out of spite. I kept expecting a soundtrack, but life mostly hums. I boxed our wedding album with the same hands that tagged exhibits. I didn't toss it. I'm not the villain here. I'm the archivist. Some chapters you store because pretending they didn't happen is just another fraud. Paperwork closed in tidy confirmation emails. The clerk stamped our lives with entered. My lawyer sent one last note. You did well. I replied with a digital thumbs up because words were tired. Then I made a list called after, and every line was small. Oil change, grocery run, call my sister, wash sheets, sit in the sun for 15 honest minutes. On the last night before the decree uploaded, I put a mug in the dishwasher and realized I hadn't checked a log all day. No audit tabs, no IP blocks, no loyalty forums, just dishes and a countertop that forgives. I held that small piece like a receipt I didn't need to save. Then I went to bed and slept without dreaming about watches or croissants or admin toggles. In the morning, the decree was there. No fireworks, just the soft click of a door you lock behind you because you finally learned how. The final receipt. Quiet win. The last receipt didn't arrive with trumpets. It arrived like a polite ghost in my inbox. Points reversal confirmation. Subject line as bland as oatmeal. Contents as satisfying as a refund you forgot you were owed. The hotel chain had clawed back every ill-gotten upgrade, every breakfast coupon, every elite amenity that had been sprinkled like confetti over policy violations. Negative numbers marched down the page in festive red. I didn't frame it. I did bookmark it like a bedtime story for accountants. Then the company sent a closure email with the subject, recovery achieved, controls updated, case logged. If closure had a ringtone, it would be that note. 3 clauses, no adjectives, all finish line. The body thanked me for organized cooperation. I read it twice, mostly for the phrase organized cooperation, which is basically my love language. Attached was the control update pack. Fresh triggers, stricter vendor onboarding, admin access sliced into tiny, non-abusable cubes. A slide even killed exact tip patterns. Farewell, 18%. You served us predictably. Legal pinged me. Binder returned to archive. Digital, hashed, time-stamped. Retired with honors to a server that probably smells like dust and smugness. I didn't keep a copy. I kept my mug. It says reconcile or else, a gift I once thought was cute and now consider a warning label for my soul. I washed it, put it on the rack, and let the water bead like confetti for introverts. I expected the victory to feel louder. It felt quiet, like fixing a squeak in a door you stopped noticing. My hands, the ones that trembled the night the printer sang Croissant gospel, stayed steady around my morning cup. No tap dance math, no kettleless heartbeat. Just coffee and the comfortable knowledge that the numbers finally sat where they belonged. Honest question for you while we're here. When the dust settles, do you want fireworks or do you want the hum of a printer that finally minds its business? There was a petty cherry. The loyalty program updated her status from elite to member. One word demotion, a whole lifestyle downgraded. No more late checkout swagger. No more sorry, we're out of standard rooms. Would a corner suite offend you? The app screenshot found its way into exhibit epilogue because yes, I built one last exhibit. I'm an archivist, not a monk. I wrote myself a small post-mortem because that's how my brain does grief with guardrails. Love needs trust. Budgets need truth. Both are audits you run daily, and both implode quietly long before the loud thing happens. We were already cooking the books on affection when the expenses learned to impersonate clients. The croissant was an event. The entropy was the pattern. I took a walk to see if the world had noticed. Spoiler, it had not. Pancake. The dog still adored sticks. The barista still spelled my name like a dare. A kid scootered past wearing a cape, which honestly set a
high bar for my day. Back home, the plant continued thriving out of spite, because even photosynthesis respects process. I put the last printed confirmations into the binder sleeve labeled Finals, then closed the cover like tucking in a fussy toddler. The spine read Recovery, closed. My museum of petty was complete. A chronicle of how a $7 pastry taught a company to count and taught me to stop narrating my pain to people who don't speak ledger. I slid it onto the shelf and made space next to it for a blank binder. Not for drama, for taxes. Life goes on in April. There were loose ends that looked like they wanted to wag. Friends tried to hand me theories wrapped in empathy and paper cuts. I nodded, said thanks, and redirected to weather. She emailed 2 lines about mail forwarding. I forwarded to counsel and replied, acknowledged. Closure isn't slamming a door. It's installing a hinge that doesn't squeal and closing it every time without announcing it.
The quiet win wasn't the reversal or the invoice or even the policy slides. It was the printer finally behaving like office furniture instead of a Greek chorus. It was the kettle clicking off and not announcing the apocalypse in Morse code. It was me waking up and not checking an audit log before brushing my teeth. Tiny rituals, unfrauded. I'd like to tell you I took the high road because I'm noble. The truth is pettier and better. Policy pays interest, drama charges fees. I picked the instrument with yield. My heart still does a small ache at 7:06 a.m., a ghost of 2 coffees on a tray, but it passes like a calendar notification you decline without guilt. Progress is boring on purpose. On my desk now, a sticky note that says, "Bless her heart. She taught me internal controls." It's not cruel. It's accurate. I learned more about myself in footnotes than in fights. I learned I can be kind and sharp at the same time, and if I must pick one, sharpness leaves fewer stains. I also learned that truffle fries do not make a client real. Write that down. Let me leave you with one image. Early morning, printer quiet, kettle clicks. A single page slides out with case closed at the top. No confetti, no soundtrack, just silence landing and deciding to stay. I took a sip, relabeled a folder, and let the day begin without any croissants trying to launder romance. The printer exhaled that last case closed, the kettle clicked off, and the house stayed perfectly, wonderfully still. That was the win. Quiet that didn't need explaining. And because the universe loves a callback, I patted the printer like a traumatized witness. It's seen more than most interns. Midnight croissants, admin waltzes, and a watch cameo reflected in stemware. If it had a memoir, chapter 1 would be titled, "I Print, Therefore I Testify." If this kind of petty forensic justice scratches your brain the way it scratches mine, hit subscribe and watch the next episode where receipts meet consequences. Drop your wildest expense report red flags in the comments. Names changed, of course. I'm building a museum, and I've got room